I'm Mike Severns, and this is the Hungry Realtor Podcast. Thanks for joining the Hungry Realtor Podcast with your host, me, Mike Severns, the Hungry Realtor. This is your go-to stop for all things related to residential real estate. Today, I'm very happy to have a good friend of mine, Damon Forte. Thank you, Damon, for joining us today.
Mike, thanks for having me, man. It's an honor to be on your show.
I really appreciate it. For the listeners and watchers out there, Damon and I have known each other for about 10 years almost now, right?
Yeah, 10 years.
It's funny how time flies so fast. We met because Damon and his family owned a couple restaurants in Bala Cynwyd, and I was hired to help out when I was first starting my real estate career. I actually was what they call dual career. I was a real estate agent, and I helped Damon manage it. What was great with Damon was he gave me the freedom to do my real estate as long as I kept up with my duties. And now, Damon, you've actually pivoted from the brick and mortar restaurants because of the pandemic. Tell me about that transition.
I guess you can call it a pivot. The pandemic hit, and we were in a big commercial space, a lot of offices, and we served the people that were in the offices that came down. And when the pandemic hit, it was lights out, basically. Like a lot of people, it started with you have to close for a couple of days, and then it was a couple of weeks, and then it was calls from attorneys, and your rent's due, but there's no business, and then it was like over. And I'll tell you, Mike, it taught me a lot about myself. But people lost their spouses, their parents, some people, their children with this thing. I lost my business, so fortunately, I had a little side hustle going, as most people do today. I had a food cart going in South Philly. At that point, it was just a side hustle. And when I lost the restaurant, it was, I felt like whatever's running this whole thing, and it's not me, pointed me in that direction. And I went full steam ahead with that. Started with one. I used to call it Frankenstein, the cart, because it was held together with duct tape and super glue.
Nice.
And from there, actually had 3 carts manufactured and built, and I have 3 carts running at the moment. So the real estate was something that I always studied real estate. I was a financial advisor in another life, and I would sit with these tier 1 clients. So a tier 1 client is someone who's 50 million plus in net worth. And I was a young, impressionable. I was a young man. I was about 27, 28 years old. All these guys had real estate, like every one of them. They all owned their own business. Some of them had 5 properties. Some of them had 20 properties. And it sparked my interest in real estate. And full circle, I never had the money to really do it. I mean, we ran a tight ship over there at the restaurant, as you know. And when you lose everything, like you really, I don't know how to say it in the proper way, but you get a lot of courage. You get a lot of courage. And I had a little IRA on the side, and me and my wife sat down. We sat down with my parents, and I said to my father, like, Dad, let's do it. Let's just do it. I'm going to give you everything I have.
So your back was up against the wall,
Mhm.
and you have your family counting on you, right? You have kids, right? You got 2 beautiful kids,
Yes.
and a new wife, right? Oh, I guess not new
Mhm.
anymore,
Right.
but since I met you, new,
Yep.
and they're looking at you. Are you going to be a defeated man? Are you
Right.
going to let this pandemic really affect you and take you down along with your business? And you said, hell no.
Right.
I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm cashing in all my chips and going all in on
Yep.
these food carts, on real estate,
Yep.
and and you've been successful with it, right? So how long has it been since you started with the first food cart, and now you have 3 across the city of Philadelphia?
Yeah. It's been in June. It'll be 4 years.
Nice.
It'll be 4 years. And it's funny because at that same time is when I did my first real estate deal. We got together, and we formed an LLC.
Hmm.
It's called Fair Trade Investments, and it's me, my wife, and we're a team. Like, we all have our roles. I mean, my father,
Yep.
he kind of, he's kind of
Yep.
But my father is basically at this point, he's more or less the hard money lender.
Okay.
But he's naturally has his hands in everything, as you know, just who he is, and it's
Right.
fine. My mother is a real estate agent, so she has access to the MLS. She has knowledge on the contracts. Um, and she's a wealth of knowledge, and she's an angel on earth.
Yeah,
And
I
you
love
know
that. She is
what
one of my favorite people. I wish I saw her more often.
when you I don't want to go off on a tangent, but when you came into our lives, you know what was going on,
Hmm.
and she said this guy is like, she used the word, you were like an angel coming in, really, and we needed you. I needed you,
Well,
and I'll never forget that. I mean, it's a whole side different thing, but
one of the things she said to me, and and this is something that really struck me, was she's like, "Your name is Michael.
yep,
Michael is an agent, angel, and it
yep,
means lion. And I always called Damon my lion. And
yep,
you and him
exactly,
are cut for. I never met you, but I felt like I was going to be your brother
yep,
because of the way she talked about how
yeah,
alike we are and how focused we were and how we had big dreams, both of us.
mm,
And it really made me want to help as much as I could with
yeah,
your family and the whole situation that brought me into your life. And I appreciate what your parents did for me when I needed a job too,
yeah,
because I was in a transition from going from the delis to real estate, and I really didn't know where I was going.
yeah.
So
Above and beyond, though, you delivered. You know
yeah.
that.
Well, I thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
So you mentioned you got your first real estate deal going about 4 years ago, about the
Yeah,
same time you got the first truck.
yeah,
Tell me how that started and what. Well, you already talked about what inspired you was right
yeah,
being the
yeah,
financial planner.
yeah.
So let's go into like what was that first project?
Desperation inspired me, and having nothing to lose inspired me, and my family, of course. But so that first one, when we sat down and we met for the first time, um, I had been an avid watcher of podcasts like Bigger Pockets. I had been on Bigger Pockets for probably a year, almost every day, um, and I had taken. I mean, I don't know if you know if you even remember this guy, Armando Montalegno, flipping Vegas. He was one of the first guys on what is it, HGTV.
HGTV.
Yeah, he was one of the first guys. Super personality, a real character, and they came through Cherry Hill. This was right after this was right probably around 2013. I
Okay.
took his course. I learned a lot, and naturally there was another course and another course, but I took the first couple courses and I learned that. I mean, I still have his pamphlet in the closet. So I understood the 70% rule. I understood a little bit how to analyze properties. But when we all came together, we really felt like a team, because I failed to mention it. If I don't do this, I will be in trouble. My wife is La Bella Vita Designs. She's our interior designer. So the team is set up. Dad's the hard money lender. Mom's the real estate agent. I am, as you know, I am a hard worker. I mean, nose to the grindstone, driving for dollars, whatever.
You're the
I'm
glue that holds everything together.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but I appreciate that. You're probably right there. And then my wife she has the design to come in. She's a teacher by trade, but she has incredible eyes. So we're looking for our first property. I'm driving for dollars. I'm on Redfin. I'm on the other sites. Every night I'm looking. I don't really know what I'm doing. Mom comes along, finds our first property on the MLS. It was a pre-foreclosure in Glendora. And Mike, the house, maybe after I could send you some links, the
Yeah.
house, when we got it, when it rained outside, it rained inside. I mean, in the center of the house, the stairway, this house was built in 1930. So it was like, we said it was like, what's that? Is it A Christmas Carol? The one, Christmas Story
Hmm.
with the,
I'll shoot your eye out.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what the house reminded us of.
Okay.
Small rooms, one bathroom, three bedrooms. Really, it was a 2-bed, 1 bath. And my wife, my mother, they really worked on that, the design. So we made an offer pre-foreclosure. We got turned down. They countered. We made a counter offer to them, and we got the deal.
Nice.
Don't quote me on the numbers, but I think it was around 104,000 we paid for it.
Okay.
Um, and we used everything that I learned, that my wife knows about design and my mother knows about real estate, and we decided to put another bathroom in because we know bathrooms and kitchens sell houses. It had an attic that we converted into a master with barn doors and leading it to a brand new bathroom with glass sliding. I mean, it was we really went for a brand new kitchen. The floors, of course, were immaculate. They just needed to be sanded down a little bit. And then my wife came in with the colors and the staging. So important, staging that property. I mean, we took furniture from our house and we took
Oh wow.
some wall and put it up, and she really made it just like she did here, man. And I'm not trying to score points with my
Oh,
wife, but she made my house a home.
that's not a fake background. That's your real house.
This is my real house.
Nice,
Yes.
I like it. See, I got the fake background because I got shelves and stuff all behind me, and
Yeah.
it looks like a mess. So I don't want people being distracted. But
This looks great though.
yeah, I love it. Your house looks great. The colors are perfect. Those floors are phenomenal.
Oh, unbelievable.
So back to the investment. So
Yeah.
you added the bathroom. What other? Obviously you said it was raining inside, so you had to do the
Yeah.
roof. Like, what was the number? Like,
Mike,
what was your repair budget there? And
it
did you
was
go over
soup.
budget?
Yeah, it was soup to nuts. It had knob and tube electric.
Okay.
Had no HVAC.
And you put
Okay.
central air in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We dove into the deep end with no swimmies on.
Wow.
We redid. I mean, we pulled it down to the studs. Funny story. My father. So I said to him, and this is what it is. We already went through all the proper channels. We get the property on Tuesday, and I'm talking about that. I'm like, Dad, we got to get the permits, and we're going to be doing a lot of construction here. And he says, we don't need permits.
Well, so let me do a little background.
Yeah, please do.
Chuck is from South Philly. And in South Philly, things are done a certain way. I went to high school in South Philly. My delis were in South Philly. Damon, your parents had the Pizza Shack in South Philly. So these are deep roots, people, and it leaves you with a certain way of doing things that doesn't really translate to a lot of other places. So I just want to, give a little background into what Chuck's mentality is.
Important.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah.
So you start talking about permits, and Chuck says we don't need no stinking permits.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. He says we don't need any permits. Don't worry about it. I said, well, when are the guys coming? He says tomorrow. I said, what do you mean? He said they're gonna demo the place. We're gonna demo it tomorrow. I said, Dad, we can't demo this without permit. This isn't South Philly. You can't call Joey Peppers up, buy him a case of wine, and he turns the other way. You know what I mean? Like, this is Glendora. We don't even know anyone in Glendora. So next day, there's sheetrock, Mike, flying out the second story window onto the grass. And naturally, we get a knock on the door. Where's your permit? And my father looks the guy in the eye and he says, we're painting. He says, what are you painting? The studs? There's no walls left. What are you talking about? So again, this, and look, I am, this, I know this, everyone knows, I am just starting out on this journey. I have been studying real estate for probably about 10 years, but
you're not a contractor.
Oh, no.
So by any means, right? Like, so
no.
These are you're subbing this out. You're basically a project manager, but you don't know the real ins and outs of it.
Right.
You know how to manage people. You're a great people manager, but you don't know the rules. So all right. So that's what we're going to get into.
I didn't know we needed permits, and the thing about it is, Mike,
how difficult was that?
It was very challenging because, and look, this is our rule, and this is something my father. I mean, I feel like Sebastian Maniscalco does it the best, but my father, you know exactly who and what he is. You always get, I don't care if you're like, he could be buying a bar of soap. He'll get 3 estimates. You understand what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. And our rule is try your best to always get 3 estimates. So we had 3 guys come in, and naturally, and this isn't something we create. This is, I hear this on the podcast. I hear this on bigger podcasts. Until you get your crew together, we got 3 estimates, and naturally one was here, one was here, and one was here. Mm-hmm. And naturally we went with the guy that was down here, and listen, the guy did great work. Timing was a major issue. You know, he had other projects going on, all the horror stories you hear. And I have to be honest with you, Mike, it was like, I was so intimidated by all that stuff. I was very much, I was fearful of losing money. This is our first one. We can't lose on this one. And once you're in it, man, like, you know, listen, you and I have both been in tight spots, you know, and not to get on like a motivational rant here, but like I tell my kids, and this is not an example of this, but like in life you walk through fires, right? So you know, everyone walks through fires, and the man or woman that walks into that fire is different than the man or woman that walks out, and all the growth happens inside of that fire, right? I mean, that's where, I mean, you've been through stuff, I've been through stuff. I went through a lot when we were together at the restaurant, and I've been through more stuff after that. And guess what? There's going to be more stuff I'm going to go through in the future. But the key is to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Because if you stop in that fire, you're going to get burned up. So again, this isn't exactly a fire example, but I was nervous as hell because I had never done this before. But once you're in it, you really do figure it out. And I heard that on a lot of podcasts, and I have a ton to learn. But the point is, we got through it. I want to say our budget was 50,000.
Okay. How far above it did you go?
And this is like before everything like went up.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Because now you're talking materials went up during the pandemic.
Yeah. So we came in, I think, around 82,000.
All right, so you're at 185 now, all in.
Yeah. Yep.
But the house is beautiful. Took a little longer than you wanted.
Yes.
But so it's funny you say that because you know he did great work and the price was good. So I had a contractor once draw me a triangle on a piece of paper, and he put good, fast, and cheap at each leg of the triangle. And I'll put a picture of this up in post, so everybody can visualize what I'm talking about. And he said, pick two. Do you want it cheap and fast? Then the quality's not going to be good. Do you want it cheap and good? Then it can't be fast. And if you want good quality and cheap, it's not. No,
I'm following.
It's not. If you want fast and good quality, it's not going to be cheap. That was the third one.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, and I actually stole that and to help buyers when I take buyers out. I draw the triangle sometimes when I think that they're looking for a unicorn, and you know, everybody wants the cheapest house in the best condition in the greatest neighborhood. So I draw that same triangle, and I tell you, I can guarantee I can get you two. I'll do my best to get you three, but it's going to be very hard. And you know, it works. It helps people understand what I'm trying to do, what realistically they can do, and in the confines of a contractor homeowner relationship, I thought that was the most polite way of saying that if you want it fast and really good quality work, like then I got to charge you a premium for that. And it makes sense because everybody should get paid for the work they do.
Absolutely.
And if they take your time, that's great. I have time, you know, so you know, let's go in with a cheaper price and good quality. That was always my thing too.
Yep.
I'm not in a rush. I'm a patient person.
Right.
So now you're in for 185, and you know, now you go to sell. Mom's going to list it.
Right.
And then how did that process go? Did you get? Was it quick? A lot of offers?
Let me just back up real quick.
Go ahead.
This was during COVID.
Oh, that's right. You weren't allowed to have showings, right?
Yeah, it was right in the heart of it, Mike. So what happened was we got 3 strikes and we got a cease and desist on the door.
For the permit.
Because, you know, just for a number of reasons. We didn't know what we were doing. And like you hear this, I hear this all the time in the podcast. But we lucked out because what happened at that point, the market had started to go like this. So we definitely had, I'm not going to say it was skill because we really didn't know what was good. You know, look, we knew, but we weren't like walking around blindly or anything, but we didn't really fully understand it. It's like anything else until you do it. So we had a little bit of luck on our side and the market went up and the cease and desist lasted. By the time we got all the paperwork in, I mean, you had to drop stuff off. If people remember this, like literally on the curb at the municipal building, and then they had to come out and get it, and you had to be like, "God, okay, see it," you know, like
right.
It's a tedious process to begin with, but COVID just compounded it. But we didn't realize what was happening with the market. So in all fairness, I'm not going to sit here like I'm some like, but we did have a little bit of luck on our side. So we go through the process. I want to say we first put it up for some reason. I can't recall exactly why, for sale by owner. I think we put
Okay.
one of those up for a while. I mean, you know how you're
Oh
in a
yeah,
real estate.
this way
You know,
mom doesn't have to give the broker the
there
piece of
you
the
go.
commission. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And then we did that for a couple of weeks, and mom was kind of fighting us on that in our little weekly meetings, and
Yeah,
we
the
just
MLS is where it's at.
it is. I mean, there's no question about it. You guys know what you're doing. You know how to market. You know how to research, and it's like it's like going to a mechanic. Like he knows what he's doing, and like you find a good mechanic, just like you find a good real estate
Yeah.
agent. You want to stick with that person, but leave that up to you guys. Leave it up to you guys. And so we listed it. We did at that point. We did have in person.
Showings.
Walkthrough showings. Yeah, I
Hmm.
was going to say viewings. It wasn't a viewing, a showing, and we had a lot of interest, and people were offering. I wish I knew what we were asking. I think we were asking 250.
Okay.
We walked out, and we had a couple people come through, and it was FHA. My mom put
Hmm.
that on there, and we wound up selling to an older couple. They loved the place. I mean, the woman walked in. You've seen this 100
Hmm.
times, and her eyes went like
Yep.
this, and it was like, I think we got, and most people did because it was beautiful. I mean, and I'm not shameless plug for my wife. She really did an
No,
incredible
that's all
job.
right. Once this is over, I'm going to look it up and I'll pull up some of the pictures, and then
Yeah,
I'll make sure that everybody sees how great it was.
unbelievable, unbelievable. So we got quite a few offers, and this is back when the market was on fire, man. You people were offering 10, 20,000 over. Well, we sold it for 271.
Nice.
Yeah. So we did very well on this, and I remember the week after we went out to dinner to celebrate. We went to Ruth Chris in Atlantic City, got a big steak dinner, everyone, I mean the four of us, and it was awesome. And I remember saying to the team, like, guys, this is great, but I don't think this is how it normally goes. Like this is we're very fortunate, and that's great. But let's not keep our expectations here, because from what I've learned, again, I've been studying it a long time. There's bumps and there's things that happen. So, but it was, listen, if I could say anything, you have to, and me and you are cut from the same cloth in this regard, Mike. You have to bet on yourself. You have to bet on yourself. And there's never a time where it's like, I have all the knowledge I need.
Hmm.
I will not lose. And you know what? I'm going to take my 401k or whatever, turn 7, 8, 10%, and go put it into something that could possibly net me 30, 40%. There's never a time for that. And the time I did this, it was one of the darkest times of my life. You know what I mean? I was really, I mean, you were there. You were right next to me, man. It was blood, sweat, and tears in that place,
Hmm.
And 2 weeks, it was like it never even existed. Like the restaurant never existed. And it was like, wow, but that is a fire example. That's a fire. The contractor taking too long is not a fire example.
Right.
Losing my restaurant and my livelihood, and like wondering what the heck am I going to do. And but out of that is born, you learn a lot about yourself. And I know you've been through some stuff, man. It's like you just keep going.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
So we have to do, right? Because
Yeah.
we can't. So we can't depend on the government or
Mm.
some company that we work for 40 hours a week. They're not going to take care of us, right? Like if I die, they'll have somebody sitting in my office at in two
Yeah.
weeks, 3 weeks. They'll replace me, no problem. My family, on the other hand, is going to be left with a hole. So I got to make sure that I set them up.
Yep.
So yes, they're going to grieve, but I want to make sure that their lifestyle is not impacted.
That's your why.
Yeah,
That's your why.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you see the beginning of this as Big Y Studios. Well, my
Oh,
LLC is Big Y LLC.
I didn't even know that. How
So
crazy.
everything I do is because of my family and wanting to really leave generational wealth for them.
Yep.
Because I started out
Uh,
a kid from Kensington that could barely rub two quarters together. And you know I was wearing hand-me-downs from neighbors, and my dad was disabled, and didn't work. So to be where I am today, to come out of that neighborhood, especially with what it's turned into,
Unbelievable.
yeah, uh, I'm very proud of it. But I also now I have a standard that for my kids,
Yep.
right? Like now when I'm gone, they still need to carry on this style of living and more.
Yeah.
And I know that's the way you think of things too, and I think
Hmm.
that's another reason why we get along so well.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Um, so speaking of family, how do you juggle family with the food trucks, with the real estate stuff? Like, um, you know, do you, are you spending a lot of time at work, or do you have a good work-life balance?
At the moment, um, full disclosure, we're coming out of, I mean, it's my business. It's like owning a pizzeria on the Wildwood Boardwalk,
Right.
like, and you know me well enough. It's been a dark winter, man,
Mm,
and it's just the way it is. And it's like I pick up the baseball bat and I have to learn to put the bat down. And it's nothing I'm doing, and it's nothing I'm not doing or whatever. It's just the nature of the business that I'm in. Um, However, I did make a huge transition in my business. Again, two things. I say this to my kids too, and again, I don't want this to turn into like a rah-rah motivational thing, but in my life, I tell my kids two things will motivate me to will cause change in my life. For Damon Forte, two things that invoke change in my life: pain and desire.
mm,
Those are the two things that invoke pain in my life. And I have to say, I love working in the cart. Mike, I love it. I keep saying this, you know me well enough, but like I'm in there and I'm BSing with the customers. I'm making jokes. I mean, it's like I feel like a bartender, because sometimes it's like there's only one customer. You get into this like a psychologist, you know what I mean? They start telling you stuff, and it's like you and me are, again, we're easy to talk to. We have a lot of empathy. We understand people. We look people in the eye when we talk to
mhm,
people. It's like, but I looked at myself last year and I said to my wife, like, what am I doing? I'm 46 years old.
mhm.
I'm on a street corner flipping burgers. How did I get here? And again, like this. And she, how our wives are, well, maybe if you look at it this way, you know what I mean? And I had to make a decision because at the restaurant when I came in, we were doing about, like 300,000 a year top line taken. And in 4 years, because of the knowledge and the sales skills I gained as a financial advisor, marketing, I brought it from 330,000 to 967,000 top line taken in 4 years. And that was all, it was before you came, but it was like I would wear a suit
Yep.
with a tray and walk into a lawyer's office, and they were like, what are you like here for, like a disposition or something? I'm like, no, I own this restaurant down the street. I want to give you guys lunch. And it's hitting the pavement and it's doing things when you don't want to do them. So this year I had a goal to get out of the cart and
Okay.
start working on the business instead of in the business. And what happened was I did it at probably the worst possible time, November.
Right. Because that's when sales start to slow down because the weather turns to shit.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
okay.
And last winter I worked and I made an income because I was working the cart. Well, now I got to pay someone else to work the cart, and the numbers are down. And now it's like there's only so much water in the bucket. So again, this is a lesson. This is a lesson. And to answer your question, my routine now is I get up. I have a 7 o'clock meeting with a group of guys, group of businessmen. We talk business and life and goals and family, and it's a great way to start the day. And then from there, I jump onto either Real AF, which is Andy Frisella.
Mhm.
He's just real. He is. I want to shake this man's hand. I listen to him almost every day. It could be an old school, Zig Ziglar, Wayne Dyer. Sometimes it's Joel Osteen. I do a motivational piece, normally 30 minutes to 20 to 30 minutes, whatever, on YouTube, and then I jump on the Bigger Pockets, and I watch. It's called the Data Deli with
Hmm.
his name escapes me. He's the VP of analytics and market research at Bigger Pockets. I watch his daily thing. That's about 40 minutes, and then I get to work on my business. And I'm just doing what I did when I was a financial guy. 250 cold calls a day. I'm calling hospitals, lawyers' offices, schools, camps in Philly, in Jersey, in Delaware, trying to
Now,
get my business.
you do that because the truck doesn't have to stay on the corner wherever it is, right? You can take it to a corporate park, and they can have like a employee appreciation day where they'll pay you a fixed amount and you feed
Yeah,
everybody. Now that's a
exactly.
great idea. I like
Yeah.
that.
It's just like the catering at the restaurant, Mike, where
Yeah.
we have people walking through the door. And you've heard me say this before. Me getting 50 more people to walk through the front door at the restaurant is not going to change anyone's life in this place. Me getting 5 to 10 consistent catering, that's what took it from. Trust me, it wasn't an extra 2,000 people coming through the front door in a week. That's what got us from 3 to 9.
When I had
So
the deli, I used to tell people the hoagies and cheesesteaks pay the bills, but the catering sends us on vacation.
exactly.
And it and I could always, and you could probably do this too. I could always give people a break on catering
Hmm.
because again, that was the vacation money,
Right.
right? So
Exactly. That's the great.
that's always a plus to me because and I got more business that way because like if you're a caterer,
Right.
that you don't have a storefront that you're selling, steaks, hoagies, burgers, and all that stuff from. So you're not
Right.
making that extra money. So you have to probably charge 4 or 5 times your food cost to make the bills.
Yeah, but that's exactly what it is. The events are, take out catering, put in events. That's where,
Great.
yeah. So, and it helps, it's really, look, I'm not going to say you would know me well enough again, I promise, but I'm about the people, I'm about the people
Yeah.
that work with me, like
What
almost
was
between,
that? What was that anagram? Not that you used to use when you were talking about
yeah,
people.
passive,
Passive. That's it.
passive, people, accountability, systems, and vision.
Yeah, I like it. I always like that. I wish I could
Yeah,
remember it more. Um, you know, I let's bring it back
yeah,
to real
yeah,
estate
yeah.
a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So you had this flip, and then you got some money from it. Did you take that and do another one? You did some buy and holds, right? Where you have some
Yeah.
tenants now. So talk to me about that a little bit.
Okay. So, first of all, we got, you know, bit by the bug is an understatement, and
Well, listen, when you make that 60, $70,000 profit after expenses, like
yeah,
that that'll do it to you, right? It's like going to the casino and hitting the jackpot the first time you go.
absolutely, absolutely. And I've always been excited about real estate, but I think that and the team was too. I mean, my mother's been involved in real
Mhm.
estate for a while now as well. But we just were like, we got to do this again. We have to find a way to do this again. And that's when I would say our team became more of a team, because in the beginning it was like, and my father, he's like you, like me. He tries to help his family, his children, and he saw the position I was in. He lost his restaurant too,
Mhm.
but my father, he had what he had before anything. Like he's fine, but um, he just wanted to help. And when we sat down and we formed the LLC, and then this deal went through, we all kind of were like, this might be something, this might be something. Let's give it a little more attention. And that's when we started to um, really, really dive in and try to identify roles. And we all started looking for properties. The problem was, it felt like everyone else in the country was looking for
Yep.
properties. And the problem was, I have a rental analysis. It's an Excel spreadsheet.
Mhm.
I got it off Bigger Pockets. I wanted to get good at analyzing deals, because in the beginning, and it's going to sound silly, Mike, but like, we really didn't know how to analyze a deal. Like, we had no idea how to figure on CapEx. We didn't know what number to use. We didn't know, and there's still not an exact number, but I can analyze. I got a call yesterday. We're making 5 offers a piece a week now. We're making 20 offers. And you know what? The rule is you have to offer 80% of asking,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to the property for us, because we're doing for sale by owner, me, my wife, and my father. The property has to be on the market for at least 90 days.
Okay.
Those are the criteria it has to meet. So 80% of asking, on the market for 90 days. My mother, because she's an agent, her parameters are a little different. I forget exactly what they are. I
Okay.
think maybe a longer period on the market. But we meet every Monday night. It's our house one night, my parents' house another night. My parents are getting older. You know, this is a
Mm-hmm.
special thing, dude. Like, and my parents, they love my wife. We're like buddies. You know what I mean? Because you remember me and my dad
Yeah.
got, you know. And listen, it's a story like it goes back 100 years, but it's different now, and it's we're a team, man. We're like we just, you know.
So
So
instead of Sunday dinner every week, you're doing Monday meetings, business meetings.
Sunday dinner still
Oh,
happens. Yeah,
nice. That's good. No, that's
absolutely,
good.
absolutely. In fact, we're having it here at our house this week. We
Awesome.
love. So, but the Monday meetings are, you know, and we have, you know, this is our little. I can
Oh,
maybe send you a
nice.
copy of this. You know what I mean? This is our little agenda of. It's more organized now, you know, and
Yeah, like you're
it's we
keeping
have a
notes. You have
logo.
meetings. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and
Minutes.
it's like this is our agenda because we were having these meetings, Mike, and like nothing. They were drinking wine, you know, and I was like, "Are we gonna get to work over here?"
Well, that's the
Um,
thing. All of us can talk, right? So you talk, Chuck can talk. I'm
yeah.
upset that I haven't met your beautiful wife yet.
Oh,
But I assume that if she's with you, she likes to conversate as well. Betty's probably the quietest one, but she's got, when she does speak, it's, to
that's it.
listen.
Oh yeah,
So, I can just imagine, even the tangents that we're taking today, like you put everybody in a room and you're going to end up talking about all kinds of stuff, especially since you're
exactly.
family. So then you talk
Yeah,
about the kids, school, and then, oh wait, oh, we're supposed to, can we buy this property? Like,
right. I know.
hey,
Can
by
we
the way,
talk about
guys,
this?
yeah.
I can I run off camera for 1 second? I have to grab
Yeah,
one
again,
thing.
I'll pause it.
Are we good?
Yep.
Okay. So now, like, it got to a point where, like you're saying, we all can talk and all. So I typed this agenda up to keep us organized. It's supposed to be an hour and a half meeting. It normally lasts around 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
We meet 7 o'clock on Monday nights. So I had in the beginning, I had a hammer and just a block of wood. I started bringing a hammer like a gavel. Well, last week, my mother says, I got something for you. She gives me this box. I open it up.
Oh, that's great.
She got me a gavel and it says, Fair Trade Investments established 2020, never give up.
Wow,
How
she got
cool
it
is that?
engraved. That's
So
awesome.
so when things are getting out of hand, I hit the gavel. But and listen, it's funny, it's a joke, it's whatever. But listen, our time is the most valuable thing that we have. And like a business, things need to be organized, you know. And I think what a lot of people run into, Mike, is that they don't treat this like a business. They treat it as a hobby.
Mm.
If you treat this as a hobby, I hope you're successful. I don't know that it can happen, you know. I don't know that it can happen. I belong to South Jersey Real Estate Investors Association. Like I said, my daily grind, I'm on Bigger Pockets 5 days a week. Before I go to bed, I'm reading a book right now called the Millionaire Real Estate Investor. I'm all about it, man.
Did I give you
And
that book? It's
you may
green,
have,
right?
yeah,
Yeah. I, I think I did.
yeah. So you have to treat this seriously. And you know what? I have a business, yes, and I work my tail off to get it to where it is. And now I'm in a position where, financially it's like I'm feeling it, but I know where I can take it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of things happen in between the restaurant and the starting of the carts, and there was a lot of drama and stuff, but again, these are things that teach you who you really are. And you're either gonna, like you said, is this gonna destroy this man or is it gonna make this man? And we're gonna lose in real estate. We're gonna make deals that we're gonna lose on. And we're gonna, hopefully we don't get, I mean, I can't afford to really lose right now.
Right.
But I'm not going to let that stop me from trying. I'm not going to let that stop me from really doing the homework and doing these Monday meetings. I mean, I do a little. We read Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's how we start. We read a chapter from that and we talk about it. I mean, that's the best book. I mean, I do a little presentation on what I learned. It's normally a bigger pockets clip. Um, and then my mother does a market report. You
Nice.
know, she talks about what her office is talking about and what the trends are, what's going on trending wise. And then, you know, we listen, I'm not going to go through the whole list, but it's the point is it's organized, you
Right.
know, and we treat it seriously. It's not a hobby. It's not, you know, it's not like this is something I'm just doing in my spare time, because it's going to be very hard to find success. And what'll happen is you'll get frustrated and you'll just go back to your 9 to 5, you know?
So when I was at your restaurant Manja in Bala Cynwyd, I went to a training for Keller Williams. I think you might remember it. It was called Bold. I had the little purple
Yeah.
bracelet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, there was one of the person who was giving the instruction. His name was Pat Mancuso. He told me that I wasn't a real estate agent
That's all you need to.
because I was dual career. He said, "No, you're a restaurant guy that sells real estate on the side." And until you stop trying to serve those two bosses, you're never going to be successful really at either one. And I had been successful in the food business
Mm-hmm.
when I focused on it, right? I had my
Yes.
own delis and it was great. I sold for various reasons. And then, I was getting older, you know, get, and my back was not as good as it used to be. So I wanted to get out of the kitchens, and that's why I started in real estate. And that's when you and I sat down at the very end, and we were
Mm-hmm.
like, "Listen,
Mm-hmm.
the shop's doing great.
Mm-hmm.
This probably isn't the best place for me."
Yep.
And I'll never forget how happy you were for me that I was going to do real estate full time. I was
Mm-hmm.
going to treat that business like a business and not like a hobby. So it speaks to exactly what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, from that first year of real estate where I sold one house to where I've sold over 250 now in my career. Um, you know, eh, your support was like your not your belief that I could do it. You know, at that time was a big part of helping me. All right, I don't I cannot have this job, along with the support of my wife because
Yeah. Of
obviously
course.
she was the main income at that point now because I was like I'm giving up the job, babe,
I
that's
remember. Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
she was scared, but I sold 20 houses that next year.
Unbelievable, man.
And
Unbelievable.
I don't say that to brag or
No.
pat myself on the back, but you brought up you have to treat it like a business, whether you're a real estate agent or you're an investor, because
Mhm.
if you treat it like a hobby, that's all it's ever going to be.
Yeah. It's effort in is what you put in is what you get out,
Hmm.
you know. So um balancing is right now it's not too tricky for me because I have the time.
Great.
Um but you need to have that balance, man. And when you're doing it, you gotta focus on it, and you gotta just keep plugging, man. You know, my father always said a big shot's a little shot who keeps on shooting, you
Yeah, I
know.
like that.
And I keep shooting, man. You know, I certainly am not a big shot, and not that I need to be, but it's like it all RY is this. You could, if I wrote it down and we switched papers, it would be the same. It's all about our families, you know.
So tell me, how many rental properties do you have now?
Right now we have a condo in Marlton,
Okay.
which is, I mean, it is a talk about expectations. You know, I told my wife, I said, this is, I don't see this happening again ever. The cash flow we're making on that. Um,
Well, don't talk about too much. Your tenant might
yeah, exactly.
might
Well,
listen.
the trick is not the trick. The thing of it is she bought it a long time ago,
Mm,
and the rent is competitive. You know what I mean?
great.
But um, it's yeah. Maybe I shouldn't talk about it too
Yeah,
much. But
yeah.
at any
Just
rate,
talk about how many you have.
yeah, we have two right now. We
Okay.
have two, and we're looking. We just went and looked at one yesterday
Oh, great.
um, in Burlington City that needs a full revamp.
Okay.
But it's the numbers. The numbers work. You know, the
Great.
numbers work. This is it's a numbers game, and there's no emotion. I have zero emotion when it comes to this.
Now, with just two, do you feel like you need a management company, or are you the one that takes the phone calls and my toilet's clogged up, somebody's late on the rent, you're the one reaching out to them. You do
100%.
all that yourself right now.
100%. At this point, I mean, what I know about, and I don't know much, but what I've learned by watching and listening, around 6 to 8 properties, you maybe should start thinking about a management company. We're, we're playing with the idea of investing out of state.
Okay.
My wife has family in Indiana, and her dad's retired, and he's obviously someone we can trust. In that case, we would have him manage the property to a certain extent. But like last week, I went and we had a clogged pipe in the condo in Marlton, and plumber came in, another plumber came in. It was bad. It was
Oh,
it was
wow.
really bad. But I had to he had to cut a hole in the wall to get to the pipe, and I was there last week with my spackle and
Oh,
my
you fixed it up.
oh yeah,
Oh,
oh yeah,
nice.
yeah. The upstairs in that same condo, the shower wasn't work. I went in there with my tools, man. Listen,
Nice.
this is what we do. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna, if I could do it, we're not, the house that we have, the other buy and hold we have in Glendora has a closed-in porch. We were gonna knock it down. The price too much, and I was in there last week. I mean, Chuck, we're in there last week. I'm putting up a ceiling. We're going to put the walls in this weekend. I'm going to
Cool.
put the floor in the following weekend. We're doing it ourselves because listen, they say don't do it yourself. And I get that. But where I am right now, listen, man, I'm willing to do whatever it
Yep.
takes. You
So
know?
a friend of mine told me either you have time or you have money.
Yeah,
And when you don't have money, you better have time to do it yourself. And if you don't have
100%.
time, you better have money to get someone else to do it.
100%. Because my wife had me do, I mean, listen, she came in here and she really made this house a home. And she has a million ideas because she's a designer. And, I've done things I never thought I could do. I mean, I shipped out my entire laundry room. We got bookshelves. I mean, we did board and batten throughout the whole house. And it's just like anything else you do, and you're like, wow, that wasn't really as bad as I thought it was going
Right.
to be. You
So
know?
you mentioned your wife's a designer a couple times.
Yeah.
If there's somebody listening that would like some input, does she work outside your business and
Oh
give
yeah.
advice to
Oh
other people?
yeah.
Where can they reach her at?
It's La Bella Vita Designs.
Okay, is there a
Uh,
website, a social media?
she has yeah, she's on Instagram. Oh God, I wasn't ready for this.
That's all right.
She's on Instagram, La Bella Vita Designs. Um, you look up La Bella Vita Design on Instagram, you'll see she posts every week.
Cool. I like it.
She just completed a design course online. It took her a year to do it, and
So
she's got
she's actually certified. It's not like
certified.
she's just like a mom that was like, "Hey, I think I'm an interior designer."
No, no. See, I'm certified in one way. She's certified.
Right. You're
in another way.
certifiable. See, she's
Yeah, exactly.
certified and you're certifiable. I like
Exactly.
it.
You know.
Um,
But she has the letters behind her name. It's I don't know what it is. DIPINTDES. But she put everything she had into that, man. And she graduated. She got hooked up with a contractor now, and she's got in the last month she picked up 5 clients,
nice. That's
and
great.
she's doing. It's yeah, the Bella Vita Design, all one word, looks like underscore on Instagram, and you can find her there. And she puts up. I'm looking at one of her posts from. I think this was from 3 days ago. Oh, this was 16 hours ago. She did a living room design. She does like little boards up there with all her colors and it's just like talking about the team. It's vital to have different pieces. You got to have the look. It's who you surround yourself with. Who's the guy? It's called The Prophet. I think he's on Channel 6 or Channel 10. He goes into failing businesses and he kind of revamps them. But he wrote a book and he calls it's a 3-legged stool.
Mm,
It's people, process, and product. Just like your triangle,
yep.
like you got to have all 3 of these to have a successful thing. And our process, what I was saying earlier was, I got a phone call yesterday. I had to run to the cart. I actually worked the cart yesterday up in my community college location. And so I was running back to my car. I got a phone call from one of the offers I made. And she was like, how much can you come up? I'm like, well, what's your bottom line is what I said to her, you know, and I learned that by watching and taking courses. What's your bottom line? And she said it, and I'm like, all right, I can now analyze from my cart to my car. It's probably a 4-minute walk.
Mm.
As I'm walking, Mike, I analyze the deal. I said, what are the taxes? What's your HOA fee? What's your rent? And then I figured out what the mortgage would be. From the cart to my car in 4 minutes, I was like, this isn't going to work for me. I'm cash flowing $30 a month. What do you mean this is a good deal? And knowledge is power. You know, knowledge is power. But action, action is the key, man. Action is the key. It's
Yeah,
that.
you can want to win the lottery all day long, but if you don't buy a
Yeah,
ticket, you don't think you got
exactly,
a
man.
chance.
So we have a process of accountability. We have this agenda. We're all accountable for different things, and we like it's. I'm excited to come in here and share what I learned this week by watching Bigger Pockets every day. You know, by what I learned in my book. You know, and then my mom's excited to talk about the market and the stuff that's going on in her office. So yeah, man. I mean, you know, success is a function of what we become, not just what we do. Um, and you know, there's a saying, faith without works is dead. Like, you know, God moves mountains, but bring a shovel, right? You have to do the work, man. There's no way around it. And I watch Instagram and I watch YouTube, and it's like some of these guys are like, hey, you can make $1 million in 3 weeks just buy my
Yeah,
course for 10 grand.
exactly.
Like, you know, I don't think so, man, you know, but yeah,
They made a
action,
million dollars from selling 10 grand courses to 100 guys. You know what I mean, or 1,000 guys, or
exactly.
whatever it is.
Yeah, we had a guy come through South Jersey Real Estate Investors Association a few weeks back, and I was almost ready to sign, you know. And I think it's a good course. I took down some numbers of some of the other people there that did sign up for the course. I'm going to follow up with
There you
them,
go. Good,
see what they say. You
good
know, it was
idea.
this, it was that, but you have to immerse yourself in it. You really do. And Mike, I'm just getting started. Obviously, I mean, I only have one flip and two buy and holds, but you know, we have goals. You know, we want to have 5 properties in five
Right.
years. That's not a big goal.
Well, that's why I brought you on, because I know there's people out there listening and watching that don't have any properties. And it's hard when you see, Property Brothers on HGTV. They're
Oh yeah,
millionaires, you know what I mean? Of course they get, they're buying and flipping $500,000 homes like it's nothing every week, whatever. Or, you follow these local gurus, everybody that says, "Oh, you're a self-made person, if you do this, you'll end up like me." But the Gary V's of the world,
oh yeah,
the Grant Cardones, you know what I
yeah.
mean? They're so far above everyone else. Nobody can picture yourself in their shoes because they're so far removed. With guys like us, you
Yeah.
know, we're not on any close to their level, but we are successful from where we came from. And
Hmm.
if somebody is where we were, we can be an example to them about how, to go from being 100 air to 1,000 air, and
Exactly.
then hopefully maybe one day, if we work hard enough, we get to that millionaire status. But, we'll leave that in the hands of the fates.
And it's this too, Mike. Like, you can't listen to what people say. You know, I tell everyone I tell them I have a food court concept that I'm trying to grow, and I do real estate. And people are going to look. They're going to okay.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, good
and
luck with that.
listen, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. You got a hot dog stand. Like, I've heard that before from like family members, and it's like,
Wow.
ooh, it's not a hot sell hot dogs. You know I don't sell hot dogs. It's called $5 fresh burger stop. You know, and it stings, but I use that to
And there's
drive me.
nothing wrong. Listen, I want to say to all my New Yorkers out there,
Yes,
even
exactly.
even though I personally don't really like New York because I'm a Philly guy and we have that little city syndrome, to the city. But they're selling hot dogs from a hot dog cart is respectable.
Millionaires.
You're out there working, right?
Yeah,
And not for nothing. They're in Central Park slinging dogs.
exactly.
They're when the
Exactly.
weather's good.
Yeah,
I could see how that's enjoyable. Just want to
exactly.
throw that out there. There's nothing wrong with slinging
I agree
dogs.
100%. But the point I'm making to you is people are going to look
Right.
at it, and you have to really let that go, man, you know, and keep pushing.
Yeah. So, um, uh, Gary V that I mentioned earlier, he actually said something. He said it a while ago, but I recently saw it that when people do that kind of stuff, like, they try and put your success down, or your effort down in like a condescending way, that says more about them and what they're going
Mhm,
through. And
mhm.
we should really show them empathy and
Exactly.
and not let it bother us,
Mm.
because then we're gonna, if we let that kind of stuff bother us, then that's gonna, it may uh, make us do the same thing to someone else subconsciously. So just treat that
Yeah,
person with compassion and educate them.
absolutely,
You know what I
100%.
mean? So uh, I think that what you've done is great, and
Likewise.
if my opinion matters at all, you and your hot dog cart are doing wonderful.
Yes.
Tell me now. Let's see. Where can people find you?
Okay.
There's three locations.
Yes.
Where are they?
Right now I have 33rd and Market is
Okay.
my flagship. That's on Drexel's campus. I have another location at Community College on about like it's between Broad and 16th Street, I want to
Okay.
say. That's my community college location. And 21st in Oregon
Mhm.
is really not where I got my start in South Philly, but it's where we kind of
So
we
so
got put on
so
the
I
map there.
I heard a little bird told me a story that Gina, which is the Gerard Estates Neighborhood Association, gave you some trouble. And I know I'm throwing this out there with no pre-warning, but I happen to know someone on that board, and when I told them you were going to be on the podcast, they were like, "Oh my God, I know that guy." Like we complained about his truck at in the neighborhood, and I was like, "What are you going to complain for? He's a businessman,
Right.
serving good food." So I stuck up for you a little bit, but you know,
Thank you.
yeah, I know you had to move to the other side of the city for a while, but you're back at 21st in Oregon.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
good, good.
Yes. Yes. It's and listen, there's trouble. Look, it's like we talked about. It's there's trouble. There's trouble. You got to just handle it. You got to handle your business. It's like Robert Kiyosaki says, mind your business,
There you go. I
and
like it.
that's
And it
part of
has
the.
multiple meanings, right? Like the
Yeah. Oh
like
yeah.
like Gina, mind your business, and then Damon Forte, get your
Mind
mind
my
on your
business.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Exactly.
it. So Damon, I really appreciate the time. We're running up against it right
Yeah.
now. Um, this has been wonderful. We have to talk more often. Uh,
Absolutely.
and maybe in a few months I'll have you on again, and we can talk about your third and fourth projects. Everyone out there, this is Mike Severance, the Hungry Realtor. Make sure to follow at Hungry Realtor on TikTok, Instagram, Sev Home Sales on Twitter, and the YouTube channel at Hungry Realtor. Uh, this has been another episode of the Hungry Realtor podcast. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe for more info.